All right, we'll be using Illustrator today and we'll be rendering. So we'll make this cylinder look like it's metal, this cube look like it's glass, and this cone look like it's wooden. This template is provided on Schoology and on Sector. The first thing that we need to pay attention to is where the arrows are pointing. The arrows suggest where the light touches the surface. So what I'm firstly going to do is I'm going to check my layers up here, and layer 1 should be locked. And then you should create a new layer, layer 2. I'm going to double click on where it says layer 2, and I'm going to call this metal cylinder. That way, each layer will be for one form. So I'm going to make that metal cylinder. I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm going to double click, and I'm going to call that glass cube. And then I'm going to click another layer, so layer 4, and I'm going to say wooden cone. This allows me to make sure that my layers stay within that selected area for this one form. So everything I do for this cone, for example, will be placed in my wooden cone where it's labeled up here. Okay, so I'm going to lock wooden cone and I'm going to lock glass cube. That way, I'm only working in this layer that says metal cylinder. Okay, now I'm looking at my arrow, and this is the direction that the light will be touching the surface. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my pen tool up here, and I'm going to trace around the shapes. So I'm going to split it into 3 sections. I'm going to get a straight line here. I might do it actually, because it's a curved cylinder. I want to curve my lines a bit as well. Okay, here we go. Now you can see that I've just used black at the moment, but we want to make sure that it's shiny and silvery. So I'm going to double click on my black and I'm going to change it to a grey, like that. This is going to be the darkest area here. I also want to add a shadow. So I know if the light's pointing this way, then my shadow is going to be pointing this direction. There we go. So I'm just adjusting my angles. So I'm double clicking on this fill over here on the left. And I'm just changing my tones. And I'm just adding another layer as well. So it's looking a little bit better. I now need to add some more tones over here. So I'm going to keep using my pen tool and I'm going to keep adding these layers as well. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add another section over here. Again, I want it to be curved. I'm just going to get the angle right as well. I want this to be a white. So looking at where the light comes from. And what I can do as well is I can use my gradient tools. I'm going to click on my first shade here. I'm going to add the gradients. But I'm going to change my gradients. So I can move this slider. I want to actually move it. Just adjusting it as well. And I can move that away. Then I also want to use my pen tool and do this side as well. And then I want to change my gradient there. There we go. So this is looking a little bit shinier. What I can do as well, because I've got my control panel up the top, I want to change the opacity. Move that out of the way and change the opacity. To 80. So that doesn't show the harsh black. And I'll change this as well to 80 as well, or maybe 90. We'll make it 95. There we go. So now you can see it's showing a bit more shine as well. I might want to create a gradient for this, but I don't really want any black. I want it more to be white. Let's see. No. There you go. Just add a bit of down the bottom. There we go. So these are 3 different types of gradients as well. So this is called the free form gradient. If I click on this one, it's called the radial gradient, and this one's called the linear gradient. Okay. So far I'm happy with what I've got. I want to make this probably a bit thinner as well. I might add some streaks. So I'm going to go in and across because I want it to be shiny like metal. So again, I'm using curved lines across the base of my shape as well. I'm going to zoom in, and I want to make this thinner. It should be nice and thin. And I'm going to position that a bit more. I'm going to put it on an angle. Bring it down a bit. I'm going to copy it as well, make it shorter. I might actually redo it so I can show more of a curve because I'm not quite happy with it. That's good there. And I want some at the very top as well. So I might do a diagonal shard. And then one at the very top around here. So it's adding all these little details as well. I might get rid of that one actually. That's not really working. Yeah. I'm going to add a bit more of a gradient to this one as well. Right, change this a little bit. Then with my ellipse as well, I'm going to trace over it. Make sure it's the right size. And then I'm going to switch my gradients. Like that. Might have a curved one. It goes right around. And then I'm going to change my opacity again. So I don't want it to be too bright, so I want it to be 40. So it creates just a hint as well. And I might change this opacity to 50. This one to 50 as well. So it shows the surface. And then it shows those areas that shine through as well. So you can see that it shows a bit more of the surface. I also want to add some around the top here as well. So I want to create that shine. And I want to make this opacity 60. And I want to add a dark black as well for contrast. There's something small as well, so contrast is really important with a lot of tonal work. I'll change the color of that to a deep black. And then I'm going to change the opacity as well. I'm going to keep adding more details as well. just to create more of a shine effect. So I might do bigger areas too. So not just little shards, but and I might do the eyedropper tool. So this section here, you can choose what color you want. Do this one. I might do a grey. And then again, change my opacity. And I'm going to make it 20%. Actually, let's make it 5. So it suggests something. It might be a bit too much, so 2%. So there is a suggestion of an area there as well. I might move this across. And eyedropper tool again. Something like that. So I'm just playing around now with different shapes, flipping them too. And then increasing there. Now it's just fiddling around with it where the light sources go as well. So I would use my gradient tool and my pen tool to create this metal sphere here. I'm going to keep adding to it and just keep playing around with the different opacities up here. So I might do So just playing around with different opacities. That's a bit too harsh. I'm just going to keep playing around. I'm not happy with this at the moment. That's a bit better. That's looking a bit better. Now I'm just adding tone as well. Change. Alright, I am happy with that. That's looking a lot like metal as well. I might change that to just a bit lighter. There we go. That's looking a lot better. I might change this as well to 70. And now let's do 80. Right, that's looking a lot better. Finish this off. Alright, there we go. I'm happier with that now. It's looking a lot more like metal. What I can do as well is I can also look at examples. That's good. Yeah, I like that streak on top of it too. There you go. So looking at different examples online as well is always helpful, just to check what is already out there as well. But I'm happy with my metal so far. In the next videos, I'll go through the glass cube, and then my last video will be the wooden cone as well. Okay, I'm just making this a little bit less. There we go. I'll get that. This. There we go. So there is my metal cylinder.